Hello and welcome to another episode of Midierror Meets, where we speak to all sorts of people who work in sound and music. On the show this time we're speaking to E.M.M.A, who is a really talented producer, composer, sound designer. She makes really amazing music, really ethereal, dreamlike music. She also runs her own Pastel Prism record label, which she releases on. And she's really well known for being behind not only the Fatberg, which we talk about, but also the Producergirls workshops, allowing people who are non-males to be in a comfortable learning space that's fun and learn how to make electronic music. Thank you very much for supporting the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. It really, really means a lot. There's going to be some amazing episodes coming up, including this one. Emma's cooking a chicken during this interview, so you'll see a question about a chicken come up. That's why. And let's get on with it. The first question I asked Emma was about her musical beginnings.
My earliest memory of music is probably headbanging to Bohemian Rhapsody in the back of Mum's car. And around that time, also Mum was listening to a rave tape, which is all I can remember. It was like rave music on a tape, and that was our favourite tape, me and my sisters. The headbanging came from Wayne's World, I think, maybe, that scene in Wayne's World. So that's probably my earliest memory. I mean, if you want to discount New Kids on the Block and Jason Donovan, which may predate that, actually.
I don't think we should ever discount New Kids on the Block and Jason Donovan. NKOTB they were called, weren't they?
Yeah, I had a bright yellow Walkman at some point. God, I shouldn't really be saying this because I'm aging myself, but the yellow Walkman and New Kids on the Block. Now you've mentioned it.
Amazing. And what was it about those artists and that particular song for headbanging that like got you going?
Well, I think it was Mum's influence, not New Kids on the Block, but Mum was quite like, there was an incident with our my dad's Welsh, and when we were like very young, some friends of my grandparents in Wales told us to sing God Save the Queen, and Mum was apparently really impressed because me and my sisters started singing Bohemian Rhapsody instead. So I think it maybe developed a bit of I obviously was too young to know that they were kind of getting at something, but that was a proud moment. So it's probably been repeated quite a few times over the years for my mum.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody is such an epic, isn't it? It's just the most powerful piece of music in very distinctive phases. You know, the dynamics of the record are incredible, aren't they?
Yeah, it's listening to like on Dad's hi-fi. I think that it was so dramatic, and there was a few songs like that, I think, that Mum and Dad would play. And I'm trying to think of other ones. Phil Collins, obviously, he made an appearance around that time, and Supertramp. So all those kinds of quite epic kind of stadium kind of sounds, I suppose. Very loud in our lounge.
Whereabouts did you grow up?
In Chester,
Really?
Hollyoaks town, yeah. So I was born in Liverpool and grew up in Chester, and then moved, I think in year 6 or something, to the Wirral Peninsula, which is kind of a few miles away. And but my school was in Chester because that's kind of where all my friends were from the first years, I suppose. And then I went to university in Sussex, Brighton.
Did you?
Yeah, I was trying to get as far away from school as possible, so I went to Brighton. I mean, I was born in Liverpool, but that was more to do with capacity at the hospital in Chester, and it was a better hospital in Liverpool. But my whole family's from there on one side, so my mum was quite happy about that. She thought it would be lucky that we were born there as well. So
nice. And when when did you start sort of playing instruments and stuff? Is that something your parents shoehorned you into doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the suggestion I think would have come from them to start piano lessons. I'm trying to. I think my mum always wanted like a piano in the house and things, and we did like me and my sisters we did like ballet, and that didn't go too well because I couldn't really behave in that kind of environment, and I found it quite boring actually. So piano I found really interesting, but I didn't like the exams, and it seemed like extra schoolwork. So I stopped. I basically gave my piano teacher an ultimatum and took Stairway to Heaven along with me and said, it's Lord of the Rings and Stairway to Heaven or nothing. And she was like, yeah, okay. I think she thought I was a lost cause, so she just kind of didn't put any pressure on me. And then I did that for a bit. Then when GCSEs and stuff came along, I kind of gave it up. But yeah, I played the piano in a play in school, and I was in a string quartet, but I was the left hand of a piano duo with my friend Natasha.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and we played like I want to say the verve and things like that, just to kind of give you a timestamp on the era. But we definitely did like pop songs like that, but I didn't study GCSE music or anything, although I kind of wish I did now, to be honest.
Yeah, I have to apologise for that leading question that I said then. The reason I said shoehorned was because I got shoehorned into doing it when I was a kid. I shouldn't lead a question like that, sorry. But yeah, that is really cool. That is really cool. And yeah, I think I had similar frustrations when I was learning the piano. I wanted to play Jean-Michel Jarre. Like, I wanted synths, and I was just playing this like blingy blongy blingy blongy like classical stuff. So yeah, I love that you actually sort of fought back and were like, you got to do it. We got to play these songs that I want. That's really, really, really cool.
That's funny you said Jean-Michel Jarre, because I would have wanted to do that too, but I didn't know who he was, but I knew the Oxygen part, whatever it is, because they always had it in the arcade where we went on holiday, playing on in the amusement arcade, and that was like, I remember hearing it and thinking, this is the best music of all time. Like, what is this? And yeah, it was just amazing to that he got into that environment. I mean, how does one get into an arcade, That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he got everywhere. He was like the first guy to have a music concert in China. And yeah, he's broken down a lot of barriers over the years. And he's like ageless as well, Jean-Michel Jarre. He like he's like 70 or something. He still looks like he's about 45. Yeah.
Is that because he's French? Is that because he's French and they just are really stylish and you just, I don't know. I saw him speak at an event actually.
Really?
Guardian Live. Wow. My sister got me a ticket. Probably about 4 years ago now.
Yeah. Do you think French people are able to style out their age, so they're able to? Yeah. I think that's an interesting idea, that because they're so stylish, they actually are able to subtract years off their appearance by compensating with style.
Well, yeah, I do, but I also think, and this is me thinking about it for 2 seconds, is that they appreciate aging over there. Like, they actually appreciate like an older woman, and they appreciate, like, from a kind of style standpoint, there's certain things, even with to do with makeup and stuff, that they do differently to what we do. Like, they're not obsessed with like anti-aging. Like, they think that dark circles under your eyes makes it look like you've had an interesting life, and all these kinds of things that you pick up. I mean, hopefully it's not just propaganda, but I think that, yeah, they have more of a respect for the aging process there than here, and maybe that's part of it as well.
Yeah. So what did you do at uni, by the way? You said you went to Brighton Uni.
Yeah, I did documentary making and media production.
Cool.
So yeah, it was very practical kind of stuff, and that's really where I started processing audio for the first time, and kind of preferred it to filmmaking, really.
Excellent. What was it like living in Brighton?
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, it was really great. It was quite I really enjoyed the freedom that it kind of represented at the time when I was there. And I mean, it was my first experience, you know, being around people that weren't from 2 miles down the road and stuff. And that's a lot of the people from London that were studying there actually brought a lot of knowledge about dubstep and things like that, which went on to kind of influence my early going out era, I suppose, when I was a student. And then I started meeting people that were producing the tracks that we were hearing, and that's really how I got involved with doing it myself, because I could see it being done around me.
I love that you went into it from video editing, from the audio side of video editing, because yes, all of the video editors, they always have like plugins that are like the sort of native plugins to that video editing software. So yeah, whatever you buy, you've always got like a reverb and chorus effect, and maybe something that will do side chaining and all that kind of stuff. But they're quite funny to use because they're not as hi-fi as maybe what you'd be used to in the production world, but they are still super fun to mess around with, and they've all got their own character.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it also became quite apparent that if you sound can't be an afterthought as well, because I think when you're approaching it from ground zero, you just are focusing on the shots and what you're actually going to be filming and things, and I think I soon realized that shit sound would ruin whatever you were doing, but we also had we had one teacher that I liked who was from Canada or somewhere, and he'd been a Foley artist in film, and so we had a whole, I don't even know if it was on the course or whether he was just showing us like things like if you were a boxer was going to break someone's nose in Raging Bull or whatever, you could punch a lettuce and stuff like that and recreate it. And that was like, wow, this is amazing. And yeah, it made it really fun. So that, I think, I can actually remember the first task that we did, which was sound-wise, which was like a black and white movie of like someone watching a film in a house, and we had to create the whole sound for it and with sound effects. And I turned it into like a really terrifying like scary thing, and I remember I put some canned laughter on, as if the person was watching like some eerie shit, like just some, and then I just find it really fun how sound had such my work compared to other people who'd gone down a completely different route had changed the whole thing. And yeah, that's when I thought, I could actually get into this thing.
That's cool. That's such a great avenue into it. And I completely agree about like when visuals and sound don't marry up, it's instantly jarring. Like you can't watch it. Like it's really odd, that, isn't it? That fusion really either works together or it doesn't. I think it also flips around. Like I sometimes do a bit of VJing, and you can really have you can really get it wrong VJing too. Like it sort of works in both directions in some way.
Yeah, it's not something that you can. I think it's one of those things. Like even like producing a podcast, sometimes people go, oh yeah, we should do a podcast, or you should do one, and as if you can just pull it out of thin air. And I think audio visuals, you might think you could just press a few buttons, but it actually probably takes loads of work to do that.
Yeah, I can say that I just generally throw this shit together and it sort of just about works out. But yeah, there is time required in the post-production a little bit. I think that's probably the main one for me, aside from editing.